All right, let's go over the portfolio and trade journal sections inside MarketLens. Let's start with the settings for these pages. First up, we have the account size. For this demo, we are just going to put $100,000. Then we have a default stop placement. I'll show you in a minute how this works, but for now, I am going to change this to bar low high and leave the buffer at 0. Next, for accounting purposes, you can select first in, first out, or last in, first out. Then we have a break-even range, so any trade that makes or loses this amount is considered a break-even. I have it set to $20 for this demo. From there, you can enter different setups you have. I created a test one for this. And lastly, we have these journal columns where you can select an index and breadth metric. You'll see when we get into the journal what these are used for. So those are the settings. Let's get into the portfolio page now. Okay, so there are a few different ways to add a position to your portfolio. I'll start with the most basic, right from the portfolio page. Just hit this add position button and fill out the pop-up. So let's just put a demo trade in here. Let's use YSS as an example. With 250 shares bought at $29.57 on 4/9. Let's set the stop to $27.90 and the setup set as test. Now you can see that is added into our portfolio. Before we go over the data, you can see in this page, I am actually going to delete that trade and show you another way to get a trade added into the portfolio from any chart in the platform. So from any chart, if I right click on the bar, I entered, you'll notice it says add to portfolio. Go ahead and click that, and that same pop-up appears with some data pre-filled. So for shares, we'll put 250 again. The entry price defaults to the closing price of the bar you click. So let's change that back to $29.57. The date is automatic on the bar you click, and then the stop is already set to the low of that bar since we selected that in our settings. You can still change that value if you want though. Lastly, change our setup to test again and hit add position, and that's it. Back in our portfolio, we will see that trade. Okay, let's go over what we can see here now. Starting up top, we can see the number of positions we have, the current value of all of those positions, the percent invested you are based on your account size. Then we have risk, or the amount of starting capital you would lose if all of your stop losses are hit. From there, we have heat, which is how much you would lose if all of your stop losses are hit, including unrealized gains. And lastly, you can see those unrealized gains. Now looking at the individual positions, you can select and reorder the columns from the column button, and also if you hover over any of the columns, it will tell you what that column is. But one I wanted to highlight is this BE cell. What this column is telling you is how many shares you would need to sell in order to leave your stop where it is and secure a break-even trade. So in this example, based on the current price, if we sold 55 shares or 22% of our position, we could leave our original stop and have a fully financed risk-free trade. Now to close a trade or part of a trade, we'll click this close button on the far right. This brings up another pop-up where I'll put the amount of shares sold, the exit price, and exit date. So for our example, let's say we sold 100 shares the next day, April 10th at $34.50. You can see that adjusts our current position in the portfolio and now adds the trade into our journal. Before we go into the journal, there is one more feature in the portfolio page I want to highlight. So now that we've taken a partial in our demo trade, if you wanted to move your stop up to break even, you can click edit and then hit this raise stop to break even or better box. Doing this will recalculate all of your risk on the portfolio page, but in the journal, it will keep your original stop number for calculating your risk to reward. Now switching over to the journal, we have some basic information like the total number of trades, win rate, average win, average loss, largest win, and largest loss, and the average hold time. If we look at the individual columns, again, you can select which ones you want to see and rearrange the order, but in here, we also have the market navigator count, rally day, and power trend status based on the index you selected in the settings. We also have that breadth metric you chose as well. So now you can see what all of those were at when you entered the trade. And what's cool is now, if you come over to the filters, you can choose to filter your trades and see your stats when those filters are true. So if you wanted to look at trades you took only when a power trend was on, you could do that and be able to compare your stats to when you took trades without a power trend. So there is a lot of useful data that you can get out of this. Lastly, if you wanted to import trade history, you can do that in the journal by uploading a CSV file. You can upload a file straight from your brokerage. While it should map it out correctly, if not, there are 2 different templates you can download right here. Copy your trades into one of those and upload it back to the journal.